early season growing pains for Wagner. They started last year with only 7 guys. You know what's the craziest thing about our catch-up with Coach? He had to get in some of the drills to help his guys get through a full practice.
Yeah, he also enjoyed it. Former Seton Hall point guard. Let's not kid ourselves. Jeremiah Williams, he waited a long time last year to become eligible, played 12 games, had a big role. He's pumped to get started. Scarlet Knights are underway, and it's Wagner with the ball first. And this is the guy that makes it go for them, Javier Esquerra, in his 4th year at Wagner. It's going to look a little different this year for Rutgers, much more of an up and down, want to get there and make the 85 points they had in the exhibition against St. John's, but this is still the bread and butter for Steve Peichel on this end of the floor. Keontae Lewis reposting against Obole with 6 on the timer, and Wagner on the board first.
Yeah, and he's going to be crucial. Keontae Lewis is 6'9", 260. Seahawks are expecting him to take a significant jump here in his junior season. He's off to a good start.
You see the shoulder brace on Williams' arm, a dislocated shoulder in practice last week, and he's still going after it to stay with Rutgers basketball. And we see it right there for Jeremiah Williams at the left shoulder. I mean, we were talking with Steve Peichel. I mean, I admitted that I wouldn't play with a fingernail problem, and he's playing with a partially dislocated shoulder.
Oh, man, he's Chicago tough. And if you want to keep Jeremiah Williams away from hooping, you probably have to lock him in a room away from the game.
Offensive foul for Martini. The grad transfer from Princeton, big-time three-point shooter, was part of the team that beat Arizona and Missouri 2 years ago to get to the Sweet 16.
He sure was. A little overzealous. We chopped it up with him at shoot-around, and he talked about some of those nerves and anxiety. Showcase a little bit right there. Packed crowd here at Jersey Mike's Arena. He wants to get off to a good start.
Esquerra trying to get it inside, lost it. There's the NEC Defensive Player of the Year with a steal and a foul called on the point guard for Wagner. Jordan Durkak, 6'6", 215. He's from this area, Colonial, New Jersey, just about 30 minutes here from campus.
Steve Peichel described him as a bull in a china shop. And what's crazy about him being the NEC Defensive Player of the Year, he did so in a scheme that's predominantly a 2-3 zone. It's nuts.
Dylan Harper with the basketball, the McDonald's All-American, the MVP of the McDonald's game, and another foul. And on Tajay Kelton. And so much excitement. And again, we won't see Ace Bailey tonight. He's around here. They're hoping to have him back maybe the next game against St. Peter's or next week against Monmouth. But again, it's not like it was all about Bailey number 2. Dylan Harper's been someone they were looking at since Ron Harper Jr. came here. And so they've known all about his excitement here from New Jersey.
It's a legacy thing with Harper, continuing the greatness displayed, starting with his brother Ron Harper Jr.
Teeny's first look at a 3. Obole knocked out of his hands. And the hustle with Durkak. You mentioned nerves. Certainly that's a big part of it. We asked Dylan Harper about those nerves today. He said, nah, not on game day. I get nervous the day before a game. His first shot as the Scarlet Knight is a made triple.
Dylan Harper got the scoring activities for the Scarlet Knights kicked off against St. John's, and he's keeping that theme going here in his first official game on the Banks.
Ramir Moore in the game, nice feed and soft touch. Keontae Lewis, the junior, he averaged 7 points a game, 5 rebounds last year. He started all 33 for the Seahawks squad that made it to the tournament, won a game in the first 4. Foul blocking on Esquerra, and that is huge. That is his second foul. Their leader has 2. Just a little more than 2 minutes here into this opening half. But you go back to that play by Harper.
How about this? His ability at his size to see over the defense at 6'6". I stood next to him recently. He's more like 6'8", but that's a big fella guarding him. And Keontae Lewis at 6'9", and he rose up and knocked it down without a problem.
And we got whistles. They got to separate the 2 players on the sideline. And they're over there by the bench, too. Amy Bonner just got bumped. They're having to move Obole out of there. Dylan Harper's talking, and Durkak's trying to bring him in. All kinds of words being shared over there.
I think they're discussing the excitement about the start of college basketball season being back.
Well, they got excited early. And listen, we've played 2 minutes and 18 seconds. Vern Harris is over now at the scorer's table. This is the beginning of it. That is Keontae Lewis and Obole. You got some elbows, you got some talking, you got conversation. Donald Copeland is pointing.
Listen, Keontae Lewis, I love the effort, but if there's a guy on the floor that I'm messing with, it is not Emmanuel Obole. This guy eats barbells for breakfast. He's down to 6% body fat for the Rutgers Scarlet Knights this offseason.
Take again. Dylan Harper to the rack. Outside, inside. He's got all 5.
That's so tough right there. Staying low and coming off the hip of the defender. And how about switching the basketball to his inside hand? And Jersey guards love getting the basketball high off the glass.
By the way, double foul was called. One on Obole and one on Keontae Lewis. That cleans up what happened in the corner. Now Wagner's got a bunch of experienced dudes. Bunch of guys been in the program. 2 on the clock. Tough shot. And Obole flies in and Williams collects. Back out to Harper. You just kind of feel like every time he touches the ball, this crowd has been waiting almost like a decade for that to happen. Tough turn and spun around and in. R.J. Green, transfer from LIU with his first bucket.
Yeah, he's a big get in the transfer portal for Donald Copeland. He's played extremely well at this level, familiar with the NEC, and he's going to be a huge scorer in this offensive scheme.
He's not a big guy at 6'5", but he led the conference last year at over 8 rebounds a game. Obole lost it. It looked like it went in from underneath, and I think everyone was confused. And Durkak with the steal and a foul on Wagner. Let's take a look at that. You don't see that often because I think everyone on the floor, some of them thought this was in.
Well, college basketball is back, and we got our first blooper of the year. I'm not sure I've ever seen that before. The ball goes under the rim, through the net, and then back through the hoop. They talk about establishing good post position, but I don't think they meant that right there.
I think Amy Bonner had a little bit of a smile on her face on the baseline. She's a veteran official. She's been around the WNBA a long time. Got Final Four officials and Vern Harris and Jeffrey Anderson. It's like, you know, sometimes you see things that you haven't seen in, I don't know, 4, 6, 9 years. The foul on Wagner. So already 3 called here on the Seahawks. Another freshman. Lathan Somerville couldn't get his first shot to fall. And obviously, look, Dylan Harper and Ace Bailey have gotten the headlines, right? You get the number 2 and number 3 player in the country. But this is a powerful freshman class. It's just not that duo.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy to think about another top 100 player flying under the radar in Lathan Somerville. Posted up a little bit too far away from the hoop right there in the mid-post. Got to establish deeper position.
Wagner working on a 1-point lead. More tough jumper. And Durkak and Somerville, he saved it.
It's a nice job avoiding crisis right there. Play on Jordan Durkak getting that basketball back in play for Rutgers.
Michael Davis on the floor for Rutgers as well, another returnee from last year. Back to Williams. Fresh look at P.J. Hayes. The sharpshooter missed it from the corner.
Yeah, of course, he hasn't been missing in practice. He's shot ready, came out on fire in that exhibition against St. John's a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, and that's what he's here for. He hit 72 threes last year at San Diego. The Hawks hanging tough here in the early going. Lewis had their first 4 points. R.J. Green on the spin. Nice find. And Wagner up by 3.
Keontae Lewis, veteran player, sneaking behind the defense. And the one thing I like about that conversion, he keeps the basketball high and doesn't waste any motion.
Williams was doubled. The bench from Wagner wants to travel instead. Now they get it. They do get a turnover called on Rutgers.
Recruiting class coming in at his disposal, too. He's got to be really proud of the product out here on the floor for Rutgers University.
Offense, though, off to a slow start. Dylan Harper's got 2 shots that have fallen. The rest of the Scarlet Knights are 0 for 5 here to start this ballgame. Meanwhile, Wagner and Green with a tough drive, and there's the freshman Somerville with the defensive play. And Green with a tough drive, and there's the freshman Somerville with the defensive play. Harper could not save it. It will stay Seahawks basketball with 11 on the shot clock.
And how about that play by Somerville? He's an excellent story from this past summer, dropping 30 pounds already since he's arrived on the banks. Allows him to create plays like that, staying vertical, defending without foul.
Tough shot off the bounce. Zay Blake. Tough shot off the bounce. Zay Blake, the redshirt junior. They brought him in last year from Southwest Mississippi. He's a guy they think could be a big-time scorer off the bench.
For sure, the Green Bay transfer loves to operate in the mid-range right there, and if the defense is not going to step up, he makes them pay.
Foul call on Wagner. They'll wave off. Not 6 straight unanswered for Wagner. And, the interesting part of that, too, for the Seahawks, talking with their head coach, Donald Copeland, yesterday summer, we don't score a lot in our practices. So, hey, coach, who's going to score for you in the game? I don't know, was the answer.
And that's the reality of every college coach in the offseason with the transfer portal. The guys looking for other opportunities. They're trying to replace the productivity of Melvin Council Jr., averaged 15 points per game for this team. So far, he's getting multiple efforts.
Somerville with a nice spin. And he got some offense down low. The first non-Dylan Harper basket of the season.
I love his game as a former big. Reminds me a lot of the potential Travion Williams showcased at Purdue. He's only going to grow as his minutes get more and more.
Harper with the fast hands to knock that out of bounds. And you mentioned Somerville dropped 25 pounds from the time he got here in June to get ready for this opener. And Travion Williams had to deal with that weight battle at Purdue as well.
Yeah, he's a renaissance man, if you will, multilingual. He grew up overseas. His father played professionally over in Europe, and he's showing that he has a little bit more pizzazz to his game.
To 4. Rob Taylor tried to bank it home, and Somerville pulls in another rebound. Here's Harper on the push. Step back for 3. Now, he's got an all-around game. They're certainly excited to see all aspects of it. There's certainly some active hands so far, both Somerville and Harper on the defensive end of the floor.
Yeah, and that's what getting the weight off of your frame does for you. Allows for you to have quick feet fighting around in the paint. He almost got to that basketball and caused a turnover.
So plenty of time to shoot for Wagner, the preseason NEC Conference co-champion. A nice touch shot, it can't go down. Rob Taylor, the second, the senior from Brooklyn, misses there, and the push for the Scarlet Knights. Acuff for 3. That is certainly a capable scorer. 21 a game last year at Eastern Michigan. Offensive rebound, R.J. Green back to the floor, and Somerville still there. Well, this is part of the beginning of a season, too, right? Getting your rotations. Steve Peichel told you before the game, hey, Ace Bailey, we thought was playing. He's been with us all summer. Somerville can take that and get the bounce.
How about that? He is getting more confident as the game goes on. And he talks about battling against Emmanuel Bowling each and every practice. Iron sharpens iron. Not only can he get it done close to the basket, but he can step away and knock down a triple as well.
Big man's got shooting ability. Timeout taken early in this ball game. Wagner and Rutgers doing some battle. An injury he suffered on Monday.
It's kind of crazy that some of these other guys, including his class, fly under the radar because of the attention that Dylan and Ace get. But what I like about it is this Rutgers staff went into the backyard of a lot of other universities and poached these players right from under their noses.
Even Somerville out of Illinois and Peoria. Dylan Grant, originally from Mississauga, but prep school there in Michigan. And Somerville, he only has 3 rebounds. It feels like he's been under the glass the entire night.
Ice grips for hands right there. He's doing a good job of using his body to hit and locate, and has the vice grips for hands to be able to secure for his team.
And Ace Bailey, big 6'10", 200-pound freshman out of Chattanooga. Guy they've been wanting here for a long time, and again, just day-to-day, injured in practice on Monday. But, he's not the big down low. He's an outside guy, as unique of a talent as they have had here.
Explosive. He detonates off the floor and at the rim, and he showcased scoring and shot-making ability that I have never seen here on the courts at Jersey Mike's Arena in that exhibition against St. John.
25 points in that ball game, in an up and down game too, right? And you were part of the broadcast here on Big Ten Network with Andy Katz. The up and down pace. He had 25. Dylan Harper had 20. I mean, it looked like what you thought it would look like offensively from those guys.
Yeah, without a doubt. And a part of a national freshman class that I think is just taking the college basketball world by storm. When you look around nationwide, Cooper Flag, names all throughout. Exciting times for the young players coming up to this level.
Eric Queen at Maryland with an impressive debut earlier this week. 7-0 run here for the Scarlet Knights. They've all been scored by Somerville. Zaire Williams, extra pass. I'm sure Lewis was ready for it. I think he thought that Williams was taking the three.
They short arm that.
Jay Hayes back outside. Scarlet Knights played 9 different guys so far here in the first half of the first half. Hayes trying to penetrate, and the soft touch.
How about that? Head up high, surveying the basketball court right there. I thought he was looking to pass, but at the last minute, using that feathery light touch to put it up over the rim.
Wagner hasn't scored in nearly 4 minutes. Esquera back on the floor. He's their leader, but he's playing with 2 fouls. On the fine, Tajay Kelton left it short. What a spin! And the finish! Somerville with the dipsy-do! Zaire Williams, quick trigger. And the drought continues. They've missed their last 8 shots. Now, there's no doubt the offensive firepower, the skill level on this side just massively improved. Somerville called for travel.
Yeah, he shuffled his feet right there. A little bit indecisive. But how about this play? Running the floor for the big fella. You will be rewarded. The spin move and the dipsy-do on the opposite side. Somerville is balling, and I spoke with Jay Young, who's in his first year back from Fairfield, about working with these bigs. He's considered a big man whisperer, if you will, and he loved Somerville's mobility. As he loses more weight and gets more acclimated to the physicality of the college game, he really shows more and more of his potential with each practice and now out here in this game.
Great start to this game. 9 points, 4 rebounds, a block shot. Wagner started 5 of 8 from the floor. They have missed their last 8. Ooh, solid move. Ramir Moore thought it was touched off the glass. And Harper traveled. So it's the 5th turnover for Rutgers. A little over-anxious, right? A little overzealous to get to the hoop.
Yeah, early season turnovers have been a consistent theme going back to that exhibition match. Obviously, you want to cap it around maybe 10 per contest, and obviously something that this team charts, but I would imagine that that is harped upon in each timeout. You got to take care of the basketball, especially for a young team.
Deontay Lewis back to Esquera. Float game strong. Harper. Spun into Kelton. He passed to Davis for 3. Well, Wagner's not really a team that wants to push, just 63 points a game. Again, part of that, though, the injuries they had last year just didn't have the bodies, and they still made the run to the NEC championship.
Yeah, very, very impressive run. It was all built around that toughness. And again, taking on the identity of their coach, Donald Copeland, who played at Seton Hall and played abroad in multiple countries. And he's now instilling some of the things he's learned in their game plan.
He's going to have to figure out how to snap this. 11 straight misses. Another open look at 3. An offensive foul called on the Scarlet Knights. And it is on P.J. Hayes, who came flying in. Well, there's a lot of new names in a lot of places, right? That's the era. We're accustomed to that now in college basketball. Happens every single year. We know that. Rutgers, though, maybe a little bit more than it has been in previous years. They do not have much back from last year other than Jeremiah Williams and JaMychal Davis.
I mean, who does that? Like,
Right.
so many teams are completely doing hockey substitutions from a personnel standpoint because of the transfer portal. It also makes it that more difficult to have cohesion, especially early on when you're getting a feel for how your team is going to have success in the season. Both of these teams are going through it.
More than 6 minutes without points. Now 12 straight misses. Durkak back on the floor, and Lewis sent it into the cheerleaders. And it will be Rutgers basketball on the other side. Good defensive play by Keontae Lewis. Well, Lathan Somerville, at the moment, has been the most impressive player on the floor.
Yeah, one of the best big men in all of the country. He's got game.
As touched by Wagner, so it'll stay with Rutgers basketball.
Yeah, I remember the days when you go after a Lathan Somerville, and obviously you want any type of top 100 recruit, but he was right there for the taking for an Illinois. And to be able to secure him, talk about the building blocks of what he can turn into if he's playing this well. The building blocks of what he can turn into if he's playing this well this early on in his career.
NEC championship game last year. Merrimack was the team that Wagner beat to get to the NCAA tournament, but Durkak was the player of the year at more than 7. Well, this is a program that's been built on defense, so not only do you get one of the leading scorers. Well, this is a program that's been built on defense, so not only do you get one of the leading scorers in the conference, you also get the guy who was the defender a season ago at Merrimack, and he sticks the first. Well, Monday stream men's hoops on Big Ten Plus. And the Scarlet Knights are back on the floor to face St. Peter's, one of the thousands of non-televised live events across the Big Ten that you can see this season on Big Ten Plus. Subscribe right now at BigTenPlus.com. With one coming your way tonight. Minnesota will be against Oral Roberts, the debut for Ben Johnson's squad again tonight. And after tonight, Austin, all 18 teams. And yes, we're all used to 18 teams by now. All 18 teams will have tipped off their seasons. I don't know if everyone's used to 18 teams just yet.
Not yet. It's going to take a little bit of getting used to. I've gotten acclimated via the football season, seeing some of these new names with Oregon and Washington and names like that. But basketball's upon us. It'll start to really sink in.
Lewis trying to end the drought, and it continues. Now more than 7 minutes without a point. Wagner had a 10-5 lead. Martini the extra pass. Jeremiah Williams for 3. Well, the reality here, with the way that Rutgers has been playing on the defensive end and the misses, this should be much larger than an 8-point lead. Green, no. All right, now it just feels like they're making shots more difficult than they have to be.
They're rushing it. They're getting good looks, but kind of flipping it up and not following through right there for the Wagner Seahawks.
They've missed their last 14 shots. They are 1 of 16 in what is an 8-minute drought. Premier Moore steps inside the arc. They're not even close.
Yep. That's another not terrible look right there. But again, just pulling it back, no follow through. Doesn't look very confident that that basketball is going to go in as soon as it leaves his hand.
If you're Donald Copeland on the positive, he knows his team has a ton of fight, and this is the side of the floor where they make their mark too. And so they've certainly been doing that. Martini, the quick release, he drills a 3.
And that's what Martini does. Last season averaging 18 points per game. 5 3-point attempts per contest. He likes to be able to space the floor as a stretch 5.
Lewis might have gotten away with a walk. Moore's trying to stop a 16-0 run, and he can't. But going back the other way.
Zach Martini showcasing why he will be a part of that 3-headed center monster right there. If you go to double and he spaces out, he will make you pay. Always shot ready, and a seasoned veteran, a little local Jersey flavor. Multifaceted too in the Rutgers Business School. Has Wall Street aspirations one day.
Yeah, he's following the Austin Johnson School of Masters, getting the degree in finance.
Listen, you got to make the game work for you. You put in enough time, energy, and effort. You reciprocated.
We stood next to him too. I mean, he's got maybe some of the broadest shoulders on the team.
For sure.
Right, Emmanuel Bole is the most imposing physical person on the team, but then next to that, nobody's the same width as Martini. Williams on the drive, count it. Oh, and the run continues. It is 18-0 Rutgers.
And how about that? This kid pops out his shoulder last week, wraps it up, and he's getting downhill in the home opener. I'm telling you, it's going to take a lot to keep a competitor like Jeremiah Williams away from the game. You talk to this coaching staff, his season from last year never ended. He never left this campus. He was locked in the gym. First time he saw his mom and grandmom this year was at the past Big Ten Media Day out in Illinois.
Just about 3 weeks ago, began his career at Temple, transferred to Iowa State, had an injury, transferred here last year, had to wait to become eligible, got there early in February, an open look at three, and absolutely nothing. Blake tries again. Now they are scrapping and fighting, and now at this point, I mean, Austin, when you're in a drought like this, even easy buckets are tough to come by.
For sure, and you got to break the seal. And obviously you see the impact of not having Keontae Lewis out there on the basketball court as he got someone's behind the defense and some putbacks. And if shots aren't falling, you got to rely on the easy ones to get you back in the flow of the game. Just got to keep attacking.
It's down to 5 minutes to go in this opening half. Dylan Harper had the first 5 points for Rutgers. He's had some time on the bench. It hasn't really been a smooth go since then. Kind of forcing things a little bit.
Yeah, choppy stop and go for both sides, but you know, you're able to rest your star players when you have other individuals who can step up. For Rutgers, it's been Jeremiah Williams, and you've had Zach Martini, the two captains, being able to convert on recent buckets.
What did Steve Peichel tell us earlier today about freshmen? No matter how high they're ranked, they are still 18-year-old kids who are playing a college basketball game in front of a sold-out arena for the first time ever.
Yeah, this game speed and this physicality, it hits a little bit different when you get into the speed of this game.
Taylor thought he saved it. Instead, it hit the side of the end line. Now, there was about 14 minutes on the clock the last time that Donald Copeland's squad hit a bucket. Williams trying to use his size advantage over Blake. On to 8 to shoot. Somerville, soft touch, this time didn't fall.
I like to see him rip through and drive that one-on-one and test the defender's feet. Really tough contested shot right there. Not going to convert on a high clip there.
Xavier Fitch, the freshman for Wagner, on the floor for the first time. He's trying to chase down Harper. Takes it to the hole. Counted the foul. That's what they came to see, and Harper will be at the free throw line on the other side.
Look at the eyes right here. Dylan Harper playing in passing lanes like a veteran. He sees the ball, turns defense into offense, and gets downhill. And how about the unorthodox finish with the inside hand? Year-old kid. You talk about a guy that's light years beyond from a maturity standpoint, and you see it on display with plays like that. That play was made in the film.
And obviously a part of this too is brother Ron Harper Jr. The classic shot to beat Purdue, the only ever win over a #1 team. This place went bananas. And he's certainly one of the most important players in this program's history. Ron Harper Jr. now with the Celtics G League team. So he's been around and he knows how this works. That's finally the answer. Nearly 11 minutes without a point, and they finally knock in a three.
That's nice roll and replace action right there, and stepping into it confidently. And back to that Ron Harper Jr. point. That's one of the only games that Dylan Harper missed. The biggest shot of his brother's career, and he wasn't even in attendance.
Yeah, but he'll say he was.
No, he won't. He chopped it up with Mike Hall and said that earlier this week. So Yeah, the one regret about being a fan for RU or probably missing that awesome contest between RU and Purdue.
Follow on the drive, so going to the free throw line again. I mean, later in life, though. Right? Maybe later in life, right?
Yeah, over at the
you got
Thanksgiving
kids,
holiday.
you're talking around the holidays. Oh, man, do you remember where I was sitting for that shot? Of course, there could be video of where he actually was.
Fair enough.
And in the double bonus, JaMychal Davis, a couple of shots. And this is certainly one of the areas for Rutgers that had to improve from the last couple of years. The Scarlet Knights as a team were 65% at the free throw line. It was certainly something that had been an issue for a couple of years. Cliff Amore had really worked hard. Davis got it back. Kick out. Davis. Hayes for three.
How about that? Defense collapses. One of the best opportunities to shoot a tray ball is when defense's eyes are all in the lane. Hayes sneaking behind and making them pay.
Baseline drive, tough finish, R.J. Green. And, you know, one made shot. All of a sudden made one made finish look easier than what they had for 10 minutes.
Yeah, one shot goes in for Wagner, and it's contagious. Really confident play right there from Green, getting downhill.
Ooh, Harper, a little slow to get up under the basket. He is trailing the play. Again, it's Green. He's hitting the face. They'll count it. And so back-to-back buckets for R.J. Green. It'll be at the line for a chance at three.
Yeah, and this is a Wagner team that's dealing with their own injuries. So they're going to have to gel and develop that cohesion with some of the guys getting integrated later on. But R.J. Green is going to be a big piece of the puzzle. He has the Batman face mask, gets whacked in the nose, and uses the Euro step to finish on the left side.
And protection for him for the broken nose, the transfer from LIU. He started 44 games over the last couple of years. He played 31 minutes a game last year, too, so certainly he knows what it's like to be counted on for a team.
Yeah, career 57% free throw shooter. That's an area that he'll have to improve upon with the amount of minutes he's going to be expected to play this year for the Seahawks.
Not much of a three-point threat either, just 5 attempts. And Williams playing too tight on Harper, and 2 more free throws coming for the Scarlet Knights.
Foul number 12, Zaire Williams, his first personal foul.
Well, Saturday, Heisman contender Dylan Gabriel leads top-ranked Oregon against Maryland. The action will kick off 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific, only on the Big Ten Network and the Fox Sports app. College football playoff first rankings came out last night. The Ducks pretty firm there at #1, the undefeated, the win over Ohio State. So the opportunity against Maryland coming up.
And how about Dylan Harper? We had a chance to speak with him ahead of this game, and one thing that he's really proud about is his Filipino culture. He talked about his mom, obviously he's fully Filipino, and how he's been out in LA doing different programs trying to raise awareness for Asian Americans. Basketball is huge in the Philippines, and he takes pride in the fact that he knows that people are going to be watching him. He has a lot of attention on his shoulders, and he's stepping up to the occasion to make them proud.
His mom, Maria, a big part of his basketball background as well, right, on the coaching staff.
She played
Don Bosco.
college hoops at University of New Orleans and coached him throughout his high school career. So he gets basketball insight not only from his pops, but from his mom as well.
Blake and R.J. Green both at the exact same spot. They've got 5 to shoot. Blake trying to get by Somerville, and he forced the pass, and it's taken away. Davis on the push, all the way to the rim. Can't finish, but he'll go back to the free throw line. A nice slow penetration. So he'll be at the free throw line. Coming up, State Farm halftime report. Mike Hall, Stephen Bartle will break down this first half. They'll get you set for game 2 tonight here on the Big Ten Network. Indiana coming up. That tips off right around 8 Eastern. It's next on the State Farm halftime report.
That was excellent defensive play. Helping back down by JaMychal Davis. And he's been making those types of heady steals since his freshman season. And another guy that didn't leave campus for Rutgers, he was locked in the gym trying to improve upon that stroke from 2 and from 3 and from the free throw line. He shot 52%. So with the amount of minutes of him being expected to play on the floor, if he can convert at a high clip at the free throw line, it will help this team dramatically.
Scarlet Knights 8 of 12 at the line here in the first half. They've got those 12 attempts. And Wagner's only been to the line once. Harper, another steal. And the finish! Oh, he hung in the air for a long time.
Using that inside hand, 6'10" wingspan. And how about the body control? Took off from around the Big Ten logo, floated and finished.
They have clamped down on this end of the floor. Wagner shooting 20% here in the first half. Durkak pushed it right into the paint. Oh, he got it to fall.
Rutgers sees blood in the water. If the defender's not going to step up and stop the basketball, then you continue to attack. That's a nice read right there by Durkak.
Now the offense starting to flow here for Rutgers with a bunch of different guys who have had that in their background. And look at that. Ball's going between my legs. I thought I lost it. I'm going to go off balance. I'm just going to throw it up at the rim, and it's going to go down.
That is tough right there. Using that inside shoulder to create separation. And Dylan Harper inside in. I thought he was going to go up for the jam right there. But gliding with that wingspan. Physicality. He's like a running back in the open court. He creates the contact, puts defenders in jail with hostage dribbles, and finishes at such a high clip.
Harper's got 10 and 3 boards. He's made those plays on the defensive side of the ball as well, so he is certainly making an impact here for Steve Pikiell in his debut. You know, the other part, too, for Steve Pikiell is you've got all this top freshman talent. Right? They've had good players here before, but nothing like this. From a collection standpoint, and certainly from the number 2 and 3 player. We were at practice today. He's coaching the same way he has been the last few years.
Yeah, and Dylan Harper said it himself. He told Steve Pikiell, I don't want to be coached soft. I don't want there to be exceptional rules just because of my ranking. Sets a bad precedent for the team, and it also won't allow for him to reach his maximum potential.
Dave Blake trying to dribble it down, get Wagner one last shot, maybe to hit something before. Nice find, and Taylor with the finish. State Farm halftime report coming up here. Harper trying to beat the horn from half court. And then he actually could have said he watched his brother's shot. Not I watched it, I matched it. Harper and the Scarlet Knights end the first half on a 31-9 run. And they head to the locker room up 17.
Excellent activity out in getting steals, turning defense into offense, and how about the lead guard and Dylan Harper showcasing why he is one of the highest rated recruits coming in.
I call Stephen Barno waiting by in our studios for the State Farm halftime report. It's all Rutgers here in the opening half. In this ball game, and they've certainly had a major impact in doing so, Austin. And again, Dylan Harper, we talked to him yesterday, and we asked, look, everyone knows, right? McDonald's All-American, the MVP, the whole thing. He's been still his first college game. He said, yeah, I was nervous yesterday. Guessing those nerves are gone.
Right off the rip, Harper catching with momentum, getting up the floor, drawing 2-1, and he's able to find his big fella, Aboli, wide open in the paint.
On the foul on Keontae Lewis is his third. Every player who stepped foot on the floor for Wagner in the first half committed at least one foul. At the free throw line, Aboli, Rutgers 12 attempts to 1 for Wagner in the first half. And, you know, remember, Seahawks, Austin, had that stretch of nearly 11 minutes, 10:57 without a point.
Yeah, the lid was on the rim, and they started to appear a bit tentative, settling for shots and not going as aggressive as they can to put the pressure on this officiating crew.
They did hang in with Rutgers on the boards. They're only -5 at the moment in that category. Didn't give up a ton of offensive rebounds, so they hung in there from that perspective. They go down to Lewis, and he did get fouled. Obole, who only played 4 minutes in the first half, picks up his second foul.
Keontae Lewis establishing really good, deep position on that right block and going through his motions and trying to get to that left hook. This is a good start right here for the Seahawks.
61% free throw shooter a year ago, knocks down the first.
Averaged almost 7 points a game. Shot 61%, as you just alluded to. And if he can get a couple of easy ones at the free throw line, it bodes well for his confidence as the second half continues to go on.
Offensive aggressive play. Ramir Moore just couldn't put it back down. And again, when Obole's your big, it's a different offensive scheme than when Somerville's your big.
Absolutely, a three-headed monster. You also can have Martini at your five as well. Different play styles allows for this coaching staff to come up with different schemes.
Here's Martini, he hit a three in the first half, the transfer from Princeton. And then Ace Bailey's 6'10", obviously not that type of player, a different player, but he's also got the height.
That was a closing lineup against St. John's in the exhibition. Defensively, if you can have Ace Bailey at your five and 4 guards out there, you have such switchability at your disposal.
Wagner trying to cut into this deficit. They faced a 17-point deficit in the first half. They're down 16. Tough box out as Scarra found the ball, and again, they just can't hit around the rim. Durkak on the other end, and a blocking foul called on Moore. And that is his third.
And that was one thing we talked with Steve Michael about, is how there's essentially no more charges in the college game. They've done a really good job of promoting freedom of movement, and it's something that he doesn't even drill anymore. And you see Jordan Durkak getting downhill, and if you're not established as that offensive player goes into his shooting motion, there's no way you're even getting any benefit of the doubt from the referee.
Remember, they changed it last year. The defender has to be set before the offensive player moves that plant foot. Taylor came in the game. Whoa. He tried to split the defenders, and he threw it all the way to the top of Jersey Mike's arena, but he did draw the foul.
Yeah. And luckily so. Rarely do you get the benefit when you move the basketball. Officials are looking for body contact, but he's able to get a good look, and now at the free throw line, 60% free throw shooter last season.
They're getting to the line here early part of the second half. They just aren't converting, as Obole's going to go to the bench. Lathan Somerville back in, the 9.5 rebound first half. Missed them both. Harper the back door, and Taylor did not give up the easy one to Williams. He'll have to earn it.
And how about that? Dribble at, and if you're a defender, that was a phenomenal pass right there. Sometimes you can communicate with the eyes. Defender gets too high. Harper recognizes, and Williams cuts back door right there. Like to see him square those shoulders off, so that could be a potential and one situation.
Jeremiah Williams, when he finally made his debut last year, towards the last month and change in the season, and player of the week in the conference, he had an immediate impact when he became eligible, scored more than 12 points a game.
Yeah, got off to a very quick start. 12 games last season for him, the returning leading scorer. They call him Unk. He's the old head of this crew, and the guy that gets this young crew in order. He sets up all the runs for this team, and you see that he's going to be huge for this team going forward.
Tyler Williams, nice find, and again, they will send Taylor to the line, where he just missed a pair. And so the foul committed. Rutgers watching Wagner get into the lane, but not really able to make that happen. Well, tomorrow the Scarlet Knights will square off with USC in the 2024 Big Ten Women's Soccer Tournament Semis. Live coverage begins at 3 Eastern, 12 Pacific, only on the Big Ten Network and the Fox Sports app. Long story tradition here. Rutgers women's soccer program. Been strong for a long time.
Dating back to U.S. Olympian, phenomenal analyst Carly Lloyd. Set the tempo, and obviously amongst many other phenomenal players, have a very rich tradition.
Now 1 of 4 at the line for Taylor. Rutgers led by 17 at the break. That lead still the same.
We asked Coach Copeland, will we see any 2-3 zone? Seahawks zoning up RU to see if they can get a better response defensively.
Harper almost scooped that one in. You know, it looked like he wanted to pass the ball, and at the last second was like, I'm going to flip that up.
He recognizes the holes in this zone. You got to attack it. Got to split 2 and get this defense off balance. And his finishing ability is just something to marvel over. Almost gets that to go. Just gets good English on that basketball high enough where even tough ones have the chance to go in.
Harper was 1 of 3 at the free throw line. Well, you asked Steve Peichel if anything surprises you. I mean, Austin, you've been around this program. You've known they've been recruiting. Is there anything that surprises you watching practice, seeing the opener against St. John's about Dylan Harper's game?
I think, honestly, he's living up to all the hype in the bill, and had a chance to check him out dating back to high school, and you see what it is. It's just his maturity. And I asked him, what are some of the things that have been most difficult conforming to the collegiate level? And he says just getting acclimated to the sleep patterns, because he has so much that he has to be responsible for between practice, going to tutoring, going to class, and then maintaining his diet.
Naps are a key part to that. Tough shot, and Williams hit. Zaire Williams with the hang and the hit.
Brooklyn, New York native, using that 6'4" frame to create a little bit of separation and rising up with the defender right in his face.
Oh, he got through. Now there's your finishing ability.
The Jersey guards finish best right there. And all he needs is a glimpse of daylight. Uses the jab step, steps through past the second defender, and finishes with the tough offhand.
The freshman, the preseason first team All Big Ten choice. He leads all scorers with 12. Nobody home, and Moore can't finish. Williams on the leak out. He can.
But he had the alley-oop opportunity to Harper, but chose to go with the two-hand slam. And he hugs him, almost like he was apologizing for not giving it up. He'll have more than enough opportunities this season.
I mean, that sequence there sums up the night for Wagner. A missed dunk. The kick out, Moore. Again, the drop. That time a chance for 3. He didn't even see the basket on that one.
How about the shot-making display over the last couple of possessions, starting with Harper. Love how he initiates and handles contact so well. He's able to absorb contact, has an excellent feel, gets the 2 right there, and utilizes the step through to finish over the much larger player. And Williams getting out ahead of the pack, showcasing that athleticism and a little bit of hug to the younger player. And Wagner coming back, getting the ball high off the glass. Ramir Moore at 6'3", 205. Spent some time at St. Joe's. He's not new to this.
Well, neither is that guy, Tyson Acuff. First 2 years of his career, Duquesne, not a high-volume scorer. He transferred to Eastern Michigan in a very different story. 14 points a game as a junior. Then Acuff last year, top 10 in the country, nearly 22 points a game as a senior. And really gonna get, you got Ace Bailey, you got Dylan Hart. He's not gonna get the volume. He was taking more than 30% of the shots at Eastern Michigan. That's not gonna happen here, but certainly if you need a guy for a night to get you go off at 20, he can do that.
Yeah, I'm glad you led me there. The sacrifice is gonna be a key term for a lot of these players. Dirk Hack being a former NEC Player of the Year, and Acuff had a multitude of options from a transfer standpoint. Definitely going to get those shot attempts cut in half. He's going to make the most of them now.
Zaire Williams trying to cut the deficit. Missed on the three. Kenton not able to finish on the other side. Zaire Williams too aggressive, which will take us to a timeout. Well, the new guys fitting well together so far here on opening night at Rutgers.
And being quick off the ground, impressive second jump, all the things the scouts are salivating over. It's been crazy for this Scarlet Knights team with NBA scouts now coming through Piscataway on a consistent basis to see this guy that's going to be taking more and more steps to get to that next level.
And all the things that Rutgers fans are salivating over, right? It's one of, and they've been building up, right? You're every game on the radio broadcast when you're not doing Big Ten Network and Rutgers games as well. So you've seen this building go from not full to energized and full and become one of the toughest home courts in the Big Ten. But every game of this season is already sold out.
Yeah, palpable buzz for sure, and rightfully so with this talent. How about that? Pump fake, reverse pivot, and if he sees the basket, he's getting high off the glass, and the ball's going in.
Jason Horowitz and Austin Johnson with you here. Jersey Mike's Arena. Dylan Harper's got 14. Now, Rutgers was focused earlier tonight on taking Javi Esquerra out of the basketball game. Number one in black, and they have done that. Not only does he not have a ton of points, and he's not a high-volume scorer anyway, but he hasn't been able to facilitate anything on the offensive end.
Now, credit to these, he missed last season, was just the physical stat he missed last season, was just the physical stature of having 6'5", 6'4", 6'6" at the guard position. It puts tremendous pressure on the opposing team guards and disallows them from getting into the flow of their offense.
He is an experienced guy today. Esquerra's 88th career games, his 60th career start, but it has been a rough one for the leader of the Seahawks who went to the NCAA tournament a year ago.
2-3 matchup zone right here for Wagner. He got attack in the middle.
Acuff with the offensive move. And Harper there on the defensive side. And look, and everyone's going to focus on his offense, right? That's what happens when you have a top 5 player in the country. His defense is what's going to make him a top-notch player.
I mean, are we surprised considering
Good point.
the tutelage, the pedigree, where he comes from? 5-time world champion father, one of the greatest defenders of all time. I think he's learned from the best.
His awareness on the floor, on every part of the floor, is impressive. Moore got a clean look, and that goes. Ramir Moore's got 5. He had been just 1 of 9, but Harper beat everyone down the floor. Take it out of the rim and go, and they did just that.
No time to blink right there if you're Wagner and Ramir Moore. You had a phenomenal move because Dylan Harper is getting up the floor. Nice hit ahead right there by Acuff. And I love the spontaneity of when he decides to finish. It seems very last minute. A player of that caliber, they can move that rock around. Very Kyrie Irving-esque right there for Dylan Harper, finishing tough with the left hand.
Now, Wagner put Rutgers at the line in the first half early. And Austin, Rutgers going to shoot free throws the rest of this ball game. That is already the 6th foul on the Seahawks, and we are just a little more than 6 minutes in. Esquerra and Taylor in traffic with a nice finish.
That's a nice finish right there over the much larger Lathan Somerville, utilizing very soft touch in the paint.
Well, you talked about the size, too, of those guards. Acuff 6'4" and 210. I mean, every guard they put on the floor, it's just a physically imposing guard when you got smaller guys. Nice find, and Hayes the finish.
The game is just slowed down for Dylan Harper. He saw that cut for P.J. Hayes and almost threw him open on the backside. Nice finish for Hayes, sneaking behind the defense.
Offensive board and a foul called on Davis. So now that is 5 fouls on the Scarlet Knights.
Rutgers foul selected Davis.
Back to your point about the free throws, if you're going to look for gripes, as any good coach does, when you go to film for review session, it is converting at a much higher clip when they get the freebies. Are you shooting 19 free throws thus far, but only converting 53%? As you get closer to better competition, you're going to have to take better advantage of when you get to the charity stripe.
Wagner on the night, just 1 of 9 from 3. And that's not a bad three-point shooter taking that shot. That is a 35% three-point shooter, and he wasn't close.
For Wagner.
Harper with his full control, running the offense. Scarlet Knights trying to push the lead to 20 for the first time on the night. The shake, the triple. Escara's gonna try on the other end. Somerville the spin, and Rutgers has its largest lead.
A nice job by Somerville beating his man up the floor. Phenomenal entry pass. Allowed for him to go right up into his shooting movement, and it just looks effortless over that left shoulder.
Back to Keontae Lewis. The double comes, forced it up, and the second chance, no. To the deck, Somerville kicked around some more, and now Rutgers on the break. 3-on-2 to Harper. Timeout, Wagner.
Good things happen when you have ball activity, guys willing to get down and dirty, and you hit ahead. Dylan Harper with the bang out right here, increasing his lead against Wagner. Flag on the same team should be criminal. Will Riley setting records in his Illinois debut with 31 points. And Dylan Harper, when you go on NBA 2K and you create a player and it's a combo guard, that's the prototype right there. 6'6" with a 6'10" wingspan, can switch it up, get in the paint, knock it down, and create for his teammates.
Will Riley's 30-plus point debut was massive for Illinois too, as they are bringing in basically everybody new to try and replace in their team and their scoring production.
And the mantra around is it's a really good knockdown by Blake over college basketball the last 2 years. And people getting old through the transfer portal.
Yeah.
This youth injection with the freshmen that we're seeing and some of these performances, it's going to be a really fun time once we get to March.
Riley had those 31 points off the bench too for Illinois. Davis trying to answer. Now, we haven't really seen Wagner put back-to-back shots in the hole. That'll happen when you have an 11-minute drought in the first half. Trying to see if they can get a couple of possessions, maybe get some confidence here in the final 10.5 minutes. Nice touch, and there's back-to-back buckets. This one, Keontae Lewis.
And that's what it is. A little bit of confidence brewing. You start with the triple, and you get it to your big fella right there. A nice touch with the floater near the rim.
We still haven't had the under 12 media timeout, so the next whistle is another stoppage. Kicked it around. Hayes has an open look, and he's gonna do that a lot. P.J. Hayes hit 72 of those last year. He's hit a couple tonight, and Rutgers took a timeout, which will send us to commercial. The confidence in us with that as well. Has had some rebounds, and every time Wagner's hit a bucket, he has either been running out or starting to break himself. Williams with a block. And he takes it all the way.
And Wagner head up, surveying the basketball according to the defense. is not going to step up and stop you. Make them pay by continuing to get all the way to the rack.
Davis on the push. He's hit a couple of threes in his Scarlet Knights debut. Williams, a little too strong. You know, you mentioned Harper, the only freshman on that first team, all preseason team. Our buddy Andy Katz had Harper and Ace Bailey as the top 2 players in the conference.
And how about Jeremiah Williams? And I'll get right back to your point. Turning defense into offense and getting over here. Head up, look at him, seeing where his teammates are, and dislocated shoulder or not, if you see a clear path to the basket, it doesn't matter if your arm's hurt. You're going to find a way to convert right there. Quiet first exhibition match. I was interested to see how he will respond as the returning leading scorer for this Scarlet Knights group, and I imagine that this staff will be very, very pleased with his productivity.
The foul called on the inbounds. 1-1 here for P.J. Hayes. Now, P.J. Hayes, another one of those transfers. He began his career Black Hills State, a D2 school in South Dakota. And last year, great three-point shooter at San Diego.
And great free throw shooter, 79% for the career. He will help the Scarlet Knights dramatically. That's one of the areas that they struggled in most, as you see him converting 2 right there.
Well, and as you pointed out, I mean, they've been struggling there tonight, too.
Yep.
Before those went down, they were shooting 53% from the line. Kelton stepped back and finally knocked one in. Tajay Kelton got it to go. His first points of the night. Now, Wagner's a team that was picked with Central Connecticut State atop the NEC. They didn't finish there last year in the regular season, but they went on the road 3 games to win the NEC championship and earn their first tournament bid in 22 years.
Yeah, and they're still filling things out and developing their identity. What a pass.
That was a pass. And Durkak with the finish. Took a little extra.
That's how you could tell Somerville has guard skills, that excellent feel. He's just understanding where his players are going to be, and that develops with reps. The continuity will only continue to get better as the season progresses.
Mascara float game off the backboard, no. Taylor found the offensive board. So Rob Taylor puts in 2.
That's a nice job for his 4th rebound of the night. Spare still not able to convert, but Taylor on cleanup duty, getting the easy ones for his team.
Somerville the space in the float. And foul called on Rutgers. Well, you talked about the pass. We've seen it from beyond the arc, knocking a 3.
Yeah, you use your body to feel where the defender is, but you keep your eyes high to locate your teammates. Eyes in the back of his head for the big fella. You love to see it.
Pretty good stuff there by the freshman. Games will get there coming up. Remember, Big Ten couple of games early December, part of the 20-game conference schedule. So find its way to Indianapolis for the Big Ten tournament, where 15 of the 18 teams will make their way. Wagner shooting just 32% from the night. Inside of 7 minutes to go here on the road. Escara tough again. Green did not hit the rim, and he puts it up and in.
That's been their best offense as of late. It's getting the shot up on the glass and having Green get a full head of steam for stick-back opportunities, small winning plays.
Is that coached at all from Copeland? And I'm asking that somewhat seriously.
I mean, you can drill it, being it first to the basketball, but in that instance, I just think that's a heady play by a veteran player, the Bronx Toughness.
And Niscara just tapped that defensive rebound, too. Kelton was waiting for it, wanted the three, didn't get it on time. Back to Green. He went to the free throw line.
Yeah, not a lot of movement here for Wagner, and that's
To the free throw line.
yeah, not a lot of movement here for Wagner, and that's been consistent 1-on-5. Defense staring at you. You got to find.
The 7th foul on the Scarlet Knights, so a 1-and-1 coming up here for R.J. Green. Zach Martini back in for Rutgers. And a lane violation called on Rutgers, so Green will get another opportunity at it. And he did not make it. Did not capitalize on the extra opportunity. Now there's going to be a lot to learn from this game for Donald Copeland's squad. They are 3 of 9 from the free throw line. And here in the second half, Rutgers is shooting 55%. Martini left alone.
The captain stepping into it. Where's that number 99? Connor J. Crowder, and he loves that spot. Easiest shot in basketball, one of them, if you ask me.
Well, the other part to that, too, I mean, you've got a transfer coming in. He's been on campus for a couple of months, and he's got the captain spot already.
Yeah, what does that say? You know, we talked with him about, is he keeping tabs on his fellow former running mates down at Princeton, who have a really good team yet again, and Xavier Lee and Caden Pierce, one Ivy League player of the year. He said, of course. Obviously, he's going to text back and forth, but he's locked in on obviously trying to get the championship levels here at the Piscataway.
Rutgers will play Princeton coming up in December. Found him again. Martini's up to 8 points.
Zebo, as they call him. I love when you see Coach Steve Peichel speak about him. He calls him a Navy SEAL. He just excels in every aspect of life. Working hard for the Scarlet Knights.
Drive, and Moore can't finish, and there's that man, the captain, ripping it out of there. Durkak found it and put it in. 6 different Scarlet Knights with 8 points here on opening night. Well, and I think that might be the biggest. I mean, look, Ace Bailey and Dylan Harper make it the biggest difference from last year and the last few years. But the amount of guys who can score 15 in a game is the other part. And Davis with back-to-back blocks. And a jump ball.
How about Jamichael Davis? One of 20 under-the-radar breakout players coming into this season. He's just a dog right there. He's going to do all the little things for this team. Great job staying vertical and going up against a larger R.J. Green, pinning it twice. He might not score a ton, and obviously improving at the free throw line, but it's those small winning plays that set the tone and tempo for this team. Those are the types of things that are contagious.
Mascara with the shot clock running down, and Green knocks it out of bounds. It is Rutgers basketball, which will send us to a timeout. Successful here on opening night. Again, Donald Copeland and the Wagner. Thank you. Umar Balo also coming from the Pac-12. Arizona, another one of those impact players on that roster. And we will see coming up when we are done here. Rutgers starts the season, preseason top 25 for just the 4th time ever, and getting it done on both ends of the floor tonight.
Yeah, Zach Martini mentioned that's the player he's most excited to compete against, looking ahead at the Big Ten schedule as well. they played against one another back in that Sweet 16 run when he was at Princeton.
Out of the timeout, Scarlet Knights here controlled this entire second half. They led by 17 at the break. And the offense has been crisper here in the second half, 62% from the floor.
Yeah, they've been sharing the game. And you were touching on how important it is to not be so reliant on freshmen, because there are going to be nights when shots aren't falling for them. But you got guys like Acuff, Durkak, Martini, and P.J. Hayes that are able to come in and help with the burden of being able to put the ball in the hoop.
Well, Acuff hasn't scored yet tonight. That will change in future nights. Williams the finish. Well, and that has happened 6-7 times tonight. The turnover leads to the easy dunk for Rutgers. Harper got his hands in there. Blake got it back. Wagner just trying to finish this one to the end, trying to get effort all the way to the end. This is not a young basketball squad. It's an experienced one. They just haven't played a lot of time together. Durkak whistled for the foul, so that will send Jakir Sanchez to the free throw line.
And not the finished product either for this Wagner College Seahawks group, missing DeAndre House-South and Churchill Bounds, who are also, you know, players that are getting back into the flow of things, dealing with injuries and recent transfers. So I know you gotta take time to try to massage it, but the season has started, and you look ahead at their schedule, they won't have too much time at their disposal, as they're going to have to start racking up some dubs.
That was supposed to be 2 shots. It was announced as a 1-and-1, but he was absolutely shooting the basketball. So we'll get another one at the attempt there for Jakir Sanchez. And again, another one of those guys that transfer in from D2. He's a big-time three-point shooter at Minnesota State University Moorhead last year, 42%.
Yeah. Stepping up in level of competition. And Coach Copeland said that they're going to need for him to put the ball through the hoop, but 0 for 2 right there from the charity stripe.
Dylan Grant with the shot, his first minutes tonight for Rutgers. Another one of that part of the freshman class, the 5 different players. Scarra got some space. That's the most space he's had tonight, and he got it to go.
That's a nice read of the defense, settling at the elbow and rising up without a defender in front of him. And Dylan Grant, the #1 recruit out of Michigan, going into Michigan and Michigan State's backyard and poaching him. He's been drilling corner threes in practice.
And he's got a corner 3 here. Well, so they're finding him in the spot that he's most comfortable here in the last few minutes of this ball game. There'll be better nights for Wagner's point guard. The senior from Puerto Rico, 1 of 9 from the floor, and Steve Peichel calls a timeout to get some of those other guys on the floor. Well, he just put Dylan Harper back in the game. So we'll get some of those non-conference matchups. Things will get tougher later on this month. They'll be part of that initial NIL tournament in Las Vegas. Notre Dame, Alabama, Houston coming up for those teams. You'll get that Princeton game you were just talking about, and the annual rivalry game with Seton Hall. Well, interesting thing here for Steve Peichel. He just put Dylan Harper back in the game, and you assume Austin to get him a standing ovation in his first game, maybe get him off the floor one time when this game is over.
And he assumes that he still wants to get buckets, right? An ATO play. So efficient with the movements, ripping through and getting to the elbow. And again, that shot pocket being so tight and efficient, rising up and knocking it down with no issues. And yeah, it gets tougher from here for Rutgers. Nothing sweet for this team from a scheduling standpoint. A lot of good tests, so we'll see what they're made of. It's only going to bode well for them as you get closer to Big Ten play.
That is Acuff's first bucket in a Scarlet Knights uniform.
Battling back from a foot injury sustained. It really derailed a lot of momentum that he had in the summer, and he talked about how that tested him physically and mentally. Well, shots like that showcased why he was the #7 scorer points per game last season in Division I.
Final minute, couple of bumps, still Wagner basketball. Harper to the deck. And he's coming off the floor.
There you go.
And here, listen to this crowd for his debut. Now the student section with the Dylan Harper chant, 20 points in his first Rutgers bowl game. Keontae Lewis knocks in the bucket. Well, you can feel it too. I mean, the other guys on this team, and we saw it in practice, that the camaraderie is there, and there's a lot of that on opening night for teams all around the conference, but they know what the opportunities in front of them with the talent that they have now on the bench.
Absolutely.
Acuff showing the moves. Can't get the finish, and it's back to Wagner here to round out this final 17 seconds. Well, Austin, you saw the exhibition against St. John's, the up and down game. Now you saw this battle against Wagner. Your overall thoughts here of night one?
Phenomenal job of closing this one out. That was problematic against St. John's. They were up for the majority of the game. Not an issue here tonight. Rutgers looks good, sharing the game. Some things to clean up from the free throw line and with some turnovers, but you got to be pleased if you're a Scarlet Knights fan.
Now Steve Peikel's team shoots 51% from the floor.